Hello and welcome to Cambodia. My name is Brock. Today really what I want to do is kind of share with you some insights about the prices of Cambodia. How expensive is Cambodia? To start off, I will say that out of some of the Asian countries that I've been to, Cambodia seems to be one of the higher priced countries, which is a little bit strange because a lot of it is underdeveloped when you compare them to the other countries, but yet the prices are higher. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about that. So number one, hospitality. The three most expensive pieces of travel are hospitality, food, and transportation. These three things seem to be the most expensive out of everything in every country that you travel to. Number one, hospitality. So you can get a basic hotel, a private room, for about $10 to $15, no matter where you travel. That's in the city, that's in other smaller cities, or even in the countryside. Generally, you can get a pretty basic hotel. I've seen them for cheaper, I've seen them for more expensive, but as a general rule of thumb, that is the average price. If you want to spend about $50, you can usually get an extravagant hotel, like beautiful 4-star, 5-star. The room is beautiful, the lounge is beautiful, usually a pool. It's something equivalent of having a $200 to $500 price tag back home. Now, if you want to save money, you can travel via hostel. Basically, if you don't know what a hostel is, it's like a hotel. Instead of being individual rooms, everybody shares one room. So there's maybe one room with 5 people or one room with 20 people. Everybody has their own bed. Usually you have your own electricity. Everybody shares a couple of bathrooms, that type of thing, but you pay a significantly discounted price because of it. In Cambodia, that has ranged anywhere from $1.50 to about $8 per night. There's a little bit of range. Basically, $8 got you your own space, and it was in a beautiful hotel with a pool and all sorts of amenities that you would normally pay in America, at least, close to $100 plus, $150 per night. I paid $8 for that dorm, that hostel. The lowest I've seen, but I have not stayed in, was $1.50. You can stay at the hotel, use all of the amenities, use the bathrooms, everything you want is yours. You just sleep in a hammock. That's it. And I think it was outside with a mosquito net. So you have a mosquito net over you and you sleep in a hammock, and it was $1.50 for the whole night. So very impressive prices. If you really want to be cheap and you really want to do that, get out of the city and go to some of the smaller towns. And if you want to really travel cheap, you absolutely can in Cambodia. If you want to stay longer, you can rent an apartment or stay in a room for a long extended period of time. Now, I talked to locals and they had said $50 per month is about a normal local price. That would get you a room, a bathroom, everything that you would really need. But the downside is it's not extravagant, it's not beautiful. Many Westerners would look at it and say, yeah, that's a little bit sketchy. But that's the norm. That's the norm for most people in Cambodia. Of course, if you want those type of prices and want that type of experience, you'll probably have to talk to a local, because a lot of the signs on the streets will say room for rent or something like that. They usually aren't long term, and if they are, they're higher priced, because the English is usually geared towards the foreigners, right? Because they want a higher price. But if you make a friend, talk to them, they can usually help you find a place, a local price, because you cannot read the local language. And you can usually get these houses. I did not. I kind of bounced around the country, so I did not stay in one location. If I wanted to stay and I wanted to call it home, I would absolutely do something like that, because I love living like a local, experiencing it like a local. So if that's something that you want to do, more power to you. One big thing I noticed here is if you talk to a local and they want to help you, they tend to try to push you to a location or a hotel in which that hotel will then give them a commission. So what I recommend is getting outside of the city area, make a friend, and they might be able to help you, and they are not going to be financially connected to any hotel or location or room for rent. So therefore, they can legitimately help you. Number two, food. Food is rather expensive here in Cambodia, and I talked to a local and he says, yeah, even for us, food is expensive. It's because Cambodia does not produce a lot of food or drinks as a country. Because of this, they import almost everything. And when they import, it's very expensive, and therefore the consumer pays the price. Basically, if you're in a tourist area, $2.50 to $5 will get you a normal basic meal. $5 to $15, depending on where you are, will usually get you a very nice meal, and usually inside a very beautiful restaurant with great service. So it kind of depends on what budget you have. But in general, if you're dropping $15 for one person for one meal, it's going to be a beautiful meal in a beautiful area. If you're in a tourist area, sometimes the prices, a lot of times the prices are jacked up even higher. For example, I was on a mountain you had to pay $20 to enter the mountain. Everybody gets in for free except for tourists. Tourists pay $20 just to go up a small mountain. And when you get there, there's many people selling you food. One example was a stall, and it was a plate of noodles or rice or something. It was $12. My mind was blown, like $12. More than 50% of the population within Cambodia does not earn $12 per day. It's significantly less than that, actually. So for a plate of noodles for $12 is insane. There were other people who were selling things for relatively cheap, but for the most part, if you're in a tourist area, the price is going to be high. And not only that, it was not a beautiful restaurant. It was a place that you would be weary about buying food from because of cleanliness. I mean, you're sitting on dirt and wood, and there's animal feces here and trash all over the place, and it was just a very dirty place, and it was still that expensive. If you're going to a tourist area, I recommend that you eat before you go. Staying healthy in Cambodia is relatively easy, actually. I love fruit. I eat a lot of fruit, and what's really cool here is they have many stands everywhere where they make fruit shakes for you. You just tell them what fruit you want, they put it in a blender, spin it around, and you got yourself a fruit shake. This ranges anywhere from 75 cents to $2. The average seemed to be $1 wherever I've gone, but there have been some places that were $2, and the ones that were $2 were actually not very good. Sweetened condensed milk inside, so if you don't want extra sugar, be sure to tell them no thanks, and they'll keep that out. They do cook with a lot of oil, with a lot of grease. That's like a thing in Asia. You actually can find places where they don't use a lot of oil and a lot of grease, and you should be able to still maintain your healthy figure. I was walking in Phnom Penh. Inside this mall was very run down, but yet in this mall was a grocery store, and in that grocery store was the most expensive prices I've ever seen in my entire life of any country, including the United States. In fact, I want to show you this video. Check this out. So I'm actually going to walk around really quick inside the Savannah Shopping Center. So if you want to Google that, you know where I'm at currently. Wow. So I walked into the grocery store inside there, and I just cannot believe the prices. I can't even believe it. I'm gonna go through the list with you and tell me what you think. A half a gallon of milk, $4.30. A value size Heinz ketchup bottle, $10.20. A simple small can of tuna fish, $2.20. One single orange, $1.20. One avocado, $2.60. One very small pint of not even very red strawberries, $8.40. One single pomegranate, $2.90. Just to give you an idea, when I was in Vietnam, I would buy pomegranates almost every other day, and I would buy 1 kilogram of pomegranates, and it was 40,000 dong, which is less than $2. I would get about 4 or 5 pomegranates. Half a liter of water, 25 cents to $1.20, depending on the brand. A single small can of Pringles, $2.20. Can of beer is about 50 cents or maybe a little bit more depending on brand. A bottle of beer is 90 cents to $2 depending on if it was imported or local. Now, I just can't even believe this. Look where I'm at. Like, there are people without shoes walking around. The struggle here is high, and I just can't even imagine. I mean, you're earning only a couple dollars per day, and you want to buy an orange for $1.20? Now, I understand if you buy from the local vendors outside, it might be a little bit cheaper, but I'm just blown away. I mean, this is more expensive than the West. As I've been traveling, obviously, I noticed that the food is much more expensive here if you go to any restaurant anywhere, even than Vietnam. And Vietnam is so much cheaper. And now I guess I understand why it's a little bit more expensive here, and it's very difficult to find a cheap or local prices. And I think I am paying the local prices even at $2 or $3 per meal, simply because, I mean, when you look at the prices inside the stores, they must charge more, otherwise they don't make anything. So, man, terrible. I don't know how to take this. Crazy, right? I don't know who's paying these prices, but someone is, because obviously they're still open. Number 3, travel. When you get into a country and you want to go from this city to that town, or take a taxi or tuk-tuk, how much does it cost? That is the third most expensive piece of this entire traveling puzzle, right? So I kind of did some quick math, and I figured out that if you want to take a bus to another town, in general, you're going to pay $1 to $1.50 per hour, per traveling hour. So for example, I'm taking a bus this afternoon. I'm going for a 3-hour journey, and that is $5. I went on a 10-hour journey, and that was $11. If you want to take a motorbike taxi, or they call them tuk-tuks here, super expensive. You pay about $2 for 5 to 8 minutes of travel. And you think, wow, well, that's not too bad, right? Yeah, but when you go to other countries, it is super expensive. And the cheapest place I've ever been was Vietnam, and that was basically I could hop on a motorbike and go for about 15 minutes, almost 20 sometimes, and it would still be right around $1 or even less than $1. But in Cambodia, it's a little bit different. And I talked to the locals and they said no locals take the tuk-tuks. Tuk-tuks are only for tourists. It's very rare that you see a local in a tuk-tuk. You do see it, but it is rare. If you go to Phnom Penh, you'll be shocked because everybody shouts at you. There's 25 tuk-tuk drivers all over the place and they're like, "Sir, tuk-tuk, tuk-tuk." Everybody, you go from here to here and the next person will say tuk-tuk. Like, you just seen me say no to this guy, so you think I'm just going to say yes to you? Like, it's just crazy. Everybody shouts tuk-tuk, and I don't know how they make a lot of money because I just see them sit there all day. Very few tourists like it because they know they get ripped off substantially. The good thing is if you need transportation, literally they're right next to you always. Renting a motorbike. This is anywhere between $4 and $8 per day depending on where you're going, which is pretty cool. Not super expensive. Basically, you give your passport and you sign your name, sign your life away, saying that if you lose the motorbike or it gets stolen, you pay like $1,000 depending on the company. So, and if any problems happen to the motorbike, you pay. Doesn't matter if you get a flat tire, it doesn't matter. You pay. So just take care of the motorbike, bring it back in one piece, and take pictures before so you can prove that you didn't cause that scratch. But this is cool because you can travel anywhere you want to. And the law, I learned, is if you are operating a motorbike 125 cc's or below, you do not need a license and it doesn't matter what age you are. Like, I'm not kidding you, in the countryside, you'll see 9-year-old children driving his 4-year-old brother on a big ass 125 cc motorbike. It's just a normal thing. You see it everywhere, all the time, all day long. If you need more fuel, you just stop at someone's house. They have glass Coca-Cola bottles full of fuel and you stop and you usually pay $1. I think it's like 1.5 liters, I think is that size. And the motorbike fuel efficiency is obviously quite well. You can travel a long distance for, just a couple dollars in a day. You rent a motorbike for $4, let's say, and you put $2 in fuel, that's $6, and the tuk-tuk driver wants you to go from here over there and charge you $4. So you see, motorbike is the way to go. If you want to get a bus, go to the bus station yourself. Why? Because if you talk to your hotel, they'll do it for you, but what they're not telling you is they jack up the price 50%, 100%, 200%. This is real, it does happen, and they try to make you unaware of this. Usually it comes up on Google, type in bus station in the city, know where it's at, and go on your own. So those are the 3 most expensive pieces of travel. There's some other expenses that I want to tell you about. One being tours. Let's say you get to a city, get to a town, something, and you want to go on a cool tour. The average is anywhere between $10 and $25. Sure, there are more expensive, and the cheapest one I seen was like $6. Tours range, I can't really give you much more information than that because every tour is literally different, but you get the idea. It's a relatively cheap thing. This usually includes the transportation from your hotel to the destination or activity, so that's kind of cool. You don't have to show up and then they're there. They usually just pick you up, and that's included in the price. In my opinion, the tour prices are pretty reasonable. Now, if you take a motorbike and you want to go on your own, that's cool. Just understand that everywhere you go is taxed. From a tourist perspective, it gets a little bit frustrating, and many people will agree with me on this, but it is debatable. Basically, if the locals want to go to the mountain, it's free. But if I get on a motorbike and want to go to the mountain, you pay $20. So $20 to go up a mountain for an hour. So you can see sometimes the prices are just bogus, and they just try to squeeze you for every dollar that you have. You want to go to the lake over there? $3. You want to go visit that temple? We want money. I understand the country and the circumstances, but when every destination you want to go to that has some type of visual appeal, you get taxed for it. So that is kind of frustrating. Just beware, it's part of it. Hopefully things change in the future. When you get here, you'll probably want to take your SIM card out and put a new SIM card in, just so you do not connect to servers and get a ridiculous bill in the mail when you get home. I paid $8. That was $3 $3 for the SIM card and $5 for the data. That data included, it was 1 month for 7 gigabytes, and it's 4G, which is really cool. It's not 3G, it's 4G. In my opinion, it's a great price. It's amazing. And the service in the country is actually pretty darn good. The internet here is pretty rock solid. After I bought this and used it for a couple weeks, I talked to another foreigner who went with a local to get a SIM card, and she paid $1 for the SIM and $1 for data, and that data lasted 1 entire month, and it was 6 gigabytes. So, yep, I think I got ripped off, but that's okay. I'm still happy with $8 for a month. In general, they're going to ask you for your passport if you go to a business, but you can buy them on the side of the road. I don't like giving my passport and my information to buy something for $1. That's ridiculous to me. You go on the street and you find someone and they'll just give you the chip, and you pay the money and you walk away, no passport needed. That's what I did. Maybe I had to pay a little bit more because of it, but at least my information is not in some weird database somewhere. Visa on arrival is $30, but sometimes it's $35. If you come in by bus, the bus kind of does the paperwork for you, and they charge you $5 to do so. I cannot recommend that enough. If you come across the border, do it. Pay the extra $5 and have them do it. To give you an idea, when I did it alone, to do a visa run, I would do it by myself, and it would take anywhere between an hour and a half to 3 hours. And you want to pull your hair out because there's so many steps and it's so confusing. Nobody helps you. Nobody wants to help you. And it's just on both sides of the border, and it's just like, shoot me now. That was between Vietnam and Cambodia. But I took the bus. I went from Ho Chi Minh City to Phnom Penh, and the visa was $30. We gave them $35, and they would do it all for us. And I'm not exaggerating when I say, from the time our bus stopped to the time that we got on the bus was less than 10 minutes, and we were on the road again. And that was a whole bus full of foreigners. That $5 bill you give them is powerful. They have some type of connection where it doesn't matter. It's an easy way to get across the border, and you are in. If you're coming by bus, do that. If you want to extend your visa, it should cost you about $45 to do it. I've read online that if you want to do that yourself in Phnom Penh for $45, you'll want to pull your hair out again because it's so confusing, so difficult, so frustrating, takes such a long time, you will hate it. So you go through an agency, which are all over in the city, usually a tourist agency. They also help you with visas. And they'll charge you anywhere between $50 and $60. And that depends on where you are. If you're in Phnom Penh, it'll be on the lower price range, but they do it quick and they do it all for you. But if you're far away, what happens is it'll be maybe $60 for you to extend your visa, but literally they take your passport, they put it on a bus, drives all the way to Phnom Penh, they do the paperwork, and then they put it on the bus and take it all the way back to you. It's required that your passport goes to one area in Phnom Penh to do it, so you don't actually leave, but your passport does. I have heard stories where some passports have gone missing or lost, so be cautious, but what do you do? It is what it is, just get a new one. So in a nutshell, I hope that helps. I hope that clarifies some things. I hope that allows you to start budgeting and understand what it takes to travel in this country. Be sure to watch my other videos on Cambodia. Sometimes I'm traveling, sometimes I'm giving other helpful tips. I thank you for watching. Remember, your time is running out. Start living. Take care.